There comes a moment in life when you stop chasing butterflies and start protecting your peace. A moment when your soul gets tired of temporary people, empty promises, mixed signals, and relationships that look good on the outside but slowly destroy you on the inside. And listen carefully. Not everyone who says "I love you" knows how to love. Not everyone who enters your life deserves access to your heart. Because attraction can pull you in fast, but character is what determines whether someone is safe enough to stay. Too many people are dating based on chemistry while ignoring compatibility. They are impressed by beauty but blind to behavior. They are listening to words instead of watching patterns. And that is why so many hearts are wounded today. Because people ignored the green flags that actually matter. You do not need someone who only gives you excitement. You need someone who gives you peace. You do not need someone who is emotionally loud one day and emotionally absent the next. You need someone whose presence feels safe, steady, and genuine. One of the greatest green flags you should never ignore is emotional consistency. A healthy person does not make you question where you stand every single day. They do not disappear when things become difficult. They do not leave you confused after every conversation. Their words and actions align. Their effort is stable. Their energy is sincere. Consistency is attractive because it reflects discipline, maturity, and intention. Anyone can be sweet for a week. Anyone can pretend during the honeymoon phase. But consistency reveals truth. Consistency reveals character. And if somebody only treats you well when it benefits them, that is not love, that is convenience. Another green flag is respect. Pay attention to how someone responds when you set boundaries. Because people who truly care about you will never punish you for protecting yourself. They will not guilt trip you for needing space. They will not manipulate. Hate your emotions just because they cannot control your decisions. Real love respects your voice. And understand this clearly. A person who ignores your boundaries in small things will eventually ignore your feelings in bigger things. Never romanticize disrespect simply because you are afraid to lose someone. Losing yourself is far more dangerous. You also need someone who knows how to take accountability. A mature person can say, "I was wrong." A mature person can apologize without excuses. A mature person does not turn every disagreement into a battlefield. Some people will hurt you and then somehow convince you that your reaction is the problem. That is emotional immaturity. That is manipulation. And if somebody refuses to grow, refuses to self-reflect, and refuses to take responsibility for their actions, they will continue hurting you while expecting your forgiveness every single time. Never date someone who is allergic to accountability. Now listen closely to this part B, because it may change your entire perspective on relationships. The right person will not compete with your growth. They will contribute to it. A healthy relationship should not make you smaller. It should make you stronger. The right partner inspires your healing, encourages your purpose, and supports your transformation. They clap for your progress instead of feeling threatened by it. Some people only love the version of you they can control, but the right person will love the version of you that is evolving. Never settle for someone who secretly resents your ambition, your healing, your confidence, or your success. Love should never require you to betray your purpose. And another green flag that is becoming rare today is honest communication. Healthy people communicate directly. They do not play mind games. They do not leave you emotionally starving while expecting loyalty from you. They speak with clarity because confusion is not love. When somebody truly values you, they will not make you decode their intentions every day. Silence can destroy relationships faster than conflict. Because when communication disappears, assumptions take over, distance grows, resentment grows, and eventually two people become strangers while pretending everything is okay. Never ignore the power of honest conversations. A relationship cannot survive where truth is absent. And finally, the greatest green flag of all is peace. Pay attention to how your spirit feels around someone. Do you constantly feel anxious? Do you overthink every text message? Do you feel emotionally drained after every interaction? Do you feel like you must earn basic love and attention? That is not peace. That is emotional survival. Real love does not constantly disturb your soul. Real love feels safe. It feels calm. It feels honest. It allows you to breathe without fear of abandonment. Stop normalizing chaos just because it feels intense. Some people confuse emotional instability with passion, but love was never meant to destroy your mental health. The right relationship will not leave you broken every week. It will not force you to abandon your self-worth just to keep somebody interested. You deserve a love that nourishes you, not one that empties you. So before you give someone access to your heart, Ask yourself these questions. Do they bring peace into my life? Do they respect my boundaries? Do they communicate honestly? Do they support my growth? Do their actions match their words? Do I feel emotionally safe around them? Because attraction alone is not enough to build a future. Character matters. Integrity matters. Emotional maturity matters. And the moment you stop settling for potential and start choosing principles, your entire life changes. Never lower your standards just because you feel lonely. Loneliness may hurt temporarily, but attaching yourself to the wrong person can damage your spirit for years. Be patient. Be wise. Be intentional. Because the right page, Urson will not force you to beg for love that should already come naturally. And when you finally meet someone with these green flags, you will notice something beautiful. You will not have to fight for clarity. You will not have to chase consistency. You will not have to shrink yourself to keep them. Instead, you will feel seen. You will feel valued. You will feel peace. And that kind of love is worth waiting for. One of the clearest signs that someone is healthy enough to build a relationship with is emotional consistency. In a world where many people operate based on temporary feelings, moods, and convenience, consistency has become rare, and that is exactly why it is valuable. Anyone can be affectionate when everything is easy. Anyone can send sweet messages during the honeymoon phase. Anyone can act interested for a few weeks. But real character is revealed through consistency over time. It is revealed in how someone treats you when life becomes stressful, when disagreements happen, and when emotions are no longer exciting and new. An emotionally consistent person does not make you feel secure one day and invisible the next. They do not leave you constantly questioning where you stand in their life. Their energy does not suddenly shift without communication. They do not disappear every time things become emotionally uncomfortable. Instead, they show up with honesty, stability, and effort. They understand that trust is not built through grand gestures once in a while. Trust is built through repeated actions that create emotional safety over time. When somebody is emotionally inconsistent, it creates confusion inside the relationship. You begin overthinking everything. You start analyzing text messages, tone changes, delayed replies, and mixed signals. Your peace slowly disappears because you are always trying to predict which version of them you are going to receive. One day they are warm and loving. The next day they are distant and cold. That emotional instability can drain your spirit without you even realizing it. And many people mistake that emotional roller coaster for passion, when in reality it is often immaturity or unresolved emotional issues. Consistency is powerful because it reflects discipline. It shows that someone's actions are not controlled only by temporary emotions. It reveals integrity. A consistent person does not just say they care about you, they prove it repeatedly through their behavior. They check on you, communicate with you, keep their promises, and remain present even when life gets difficult. Their love is not performance-based. It is intentional. Healthy love should never feel like emotional gambling. You should not have to wake up every day wondering if somebody still values you. The right person brings stability into your life, not confusion. They create clarity instead of chaos. And when someone is emotionally consistent, your heart can finally rest because you no longer feel like you must fight to. Keep their attention or earn their affection every single day. One of the strongest green flags you should never ignore in a relationship is respect for boundaries. A person can be charming, attractive, intelligent, and emotionally expressive, but if they do not respect your boundaries, the relationship will eventually become emotionally exhausting. Boundaries are not walls created to punish people. They are protections created to preserve peace, self-worth, emotional safety, and personal identity. And anybody who truly cares about you will understand that. A healthy person does not become angry simply because you said no. They do not pressure you into conversations you are not ready for. They do not guilt-trip you for needing time alone, space to think, or moments to recharge emotionally. Instead, they listen. They honor your comfort. They respect your limits without making you feel selfish for having them. That is maturity. That is emotional intelligence. Because real love never sees itself where respect is absent. Many people ignore this green flag early in relationships because they confuse controlling behavior with deep affection. Someone constantly demanding access to your time, attention, and energy may seem romantic at first, but over time it becomes emotionally draining. A person who cannot respect small boundaries will eventually disrespect bigger ones too. If they dismiss your feelings now, they may dismiss your voice later. If they ignore your emotional needs now, they may ignore your pain later. That is why boundaries matter so much. They reveal whether someone values you as a person or only values what they can receive from you. A respectful partner understands that love does not erase individuality. You are still allowed to have privacy, personal goals, friendships, opinions, and emotional needs outside the relationship. Healthy love creates freedom, not emotional imprisonment. The right person will never make you feel guilty for protecting your mental health, prioritizing your peace, or speaking up about what hurts you. And pay attention to this carefully. The way someone reacts to your boundaries tells you everything about their intentions. Manipulative people become offended when they lose control. Emotionally immature people see boundaries as rejection, but mature people recognize boundaries as necessary for trust and long-term stability. You should never have to sacrifice your self-respect just to keep somebody comfortable. The right relationship allows honesty without fear. It allows communication without punishment. It allows both people to feel emotionally safe while still being fully themselves. When someone respects your boundaries, they are showing you that they respect you as a human being, not just as a source of attention, comfort, or validation. One of the most important green flags in any relationship is accountability and emotional maturity. A mature person understands that relationships cannot survive without honesty, humility, and self-awareness. They know they are imperfect, and because of that, they are willing to acknowledge mistakes, learn from them, and grow. This quality may not seem exciting in the beginning, but over time it becomes one of the strongest foundations for trust, peace, and emotional security. An accountable person does not run away from difficult conversations. They do not immediately become defensive every time an issue is addressed. Instead of blaming others for everything that goes wrong, they pause, reflect, and take responsibility for their actions. That kind of maturity is rare because many people would rather protect their ego than protect the relationship. They want to be understood without first trying to understand. They want forgiveness without change. They want loyalty while refusing to grow. Pay close attention to how someone responds after they hurt you. That moment reveals their true character more than their words ever will. A mature person can sincerely say, "I was wrong." They do not twist the situation to make themselves look innocent. They do not minimize your feelings or mock your pain. They listen, they apologize, and most importantly, they make an effort to improve their behavior. Because real apologies are not just spoken, they are demonstrated through change. Emotionally immature people often avoid accountability by shifting blame. They may turn every disagreement into your fault. They may act like the victim whenever they are confronted. Some will even manipulate you into apologizing for reacting to the pain they caused. Over time, that kind of behavior becomes emotionally damaging because it forces you to constantly carry the emotional weight of the relationship alone. You begin walking on eggshells just to avoid conflict, while they continue repeating the same harmful patterns without growth or reflection. A healthy relationship requires two people who are both willing to evolve. Nobody is perfect, but maturity means being teachable. It means being willing to confront unhealthy habits instead of defending them forever. It means valuing peace more than pride. The right person will not see feedback as an attack. They will see it as an opportunity to become better for themselves and for the relationship. Accountability creates emotional safety because it allows problems to be solved instead of ignored. It creates trust because you know the person beside you is capable of honesty and growth. And when someone consistently takes responsibility for their actions, you no longer feel like you are fighting the relationship alone. You feel supported, heard, respected, and emotionally secure. One of the most beautiful green flags you can find in a relationship is someone who genuinely supports your growth. The right person does not feel threatened by your healing, your ambition, your confidence, or your success. Instead, they encourage it. They understand that love is not about control, it is about helping each other become stronger, wiser, healthier, and closer to the purpose placed inside each of you. A healthy relationship should never require you to shrink yourself just to make someone else feel comfortable. Many people enter relationships hoping to be loved, but they slowly lose themselves in the process. Their dreams become smaller, their confidence fades. Their energy is drained trying to keep someone happy who secretly resents their growth. That is not love. Real love should breathe life into your spirit, not suffocate your potential. The right person will inspire you to become more disciplined, more focused, more emotionally healthy, and more connected to your purpose. Their presence in your life should elevate you, not distract you from becoming who you were meant to be. Pay attention to how someone reacts when good things begin happening for you. Do they celebrate your wins with sincerity, or do they become distant, insecure, and competitive? A supportive partner does not secretly hope you stay broken, weak, or dependent on them. They want to see you rise. They encourage your goals. They push you toward healing instead of keeping you trapped in old pain. When you are around the right person, you feel motivated to grow because their energy creates safety, encouragement, and belief. Growth also includes emotional growth. A healthy partner supports your mental and emotional healing journey instead of mocking it. They do not shame you for trying to become more self-aware, more peaceful, or more emotionally balanced. They understand that healing takes time, patience, and effort. Instead of pulling you backward into toxic habits, they walk beside you while you become better. Some people only love the version of you they can control. They become uncomfortable when you gain confidence, set boundaries, or discover your worth. But the right person will never fear your transformation. They will admire it. They will respect it. They will encourage it because they understand that two healthy people growing together create a stronger relationship. A relationship should feel like fertile ground where both people can evolve without fear. You should feel emotionally safe enough to chase your goals, speak your truth, and become the highest version of yourself. When somebody truly supports your growth, they are showing that their love is rooted in sincerity rather than selfishness. And that kind of support becomes one of the greatest blessings a relationship can offer. One of the clearest green flags in a healthy relationship is honest communication. Real love cannot survive where truth is absent, because communication is the bridge that keeps two hearts connected. Without it, confusion grows, assumptions multiply, and emotional distance slowly takes over. A person who communicates honestly creates clarity, trust, and emotional safety. They do not leave you constantly guessing what they feel, where you stand, or what their intentions are. Instead, the EY speak with sincerity, openness, and respect. An emotionally healthy person understands that silence can damage a relationship just as deeply as harsh words. They do not avoid important conversations simply because they are uncomfortable. They are willing to express their feelings clearly instead of expecting you to read their mind. They listen when you speak, and they communicate in a way that seeks understanding instead of control. Even during disagreements, their goal is not to win the argument, but to protect the connection. Many people today confuse mixed signals with mystery and emotional distance with strength, but inconsistency in communication often creates emotional anxiety. One day, someone acts deeply interested, and the next day they become cold and unavailable without explanation. That kind of behavior forces you into constant overthinking. You begin analyzing every message, every pause, and every change in tone. Slowly, your peace disappears because uncertainty has taken control of the relationship. Honest communication removes that emotional confusion. A genuine person does not play games with your emotions for attention or power. If they care about you, they show it through their words and actions. If something is bothering them, they speak about it respectfully instead of silently building resentment. If they cannot meet your needs or continue the relationship, they are truthful rather than deceptive. Honesty may sometimes feel uncomfortable in the moment, but dishonesty creates wounds that last far longer. Communication is also about emotional transparency. A healthy partner allows themselves to be vulnerable instead of hiding behind pride or emotional walls. They are not afraid to express love, appreciation, concern, or even fear. That openness creates deeper intimacy because both people feel emotionally seen and understood. The strongest relationships are not built on perfection. They are built on two people who are willing to communicate honestly, even when conversations are difficult. Because when communication stays open, problems can be solved before they become emotional destruction. Trust grows stronger, understanding deepens, and the relationship becomes a place of peace rather than confusion. A person who communicates honestly is showing emotional maturity, respect, and genuine intention, and those qualities are priceless in any relationship. One of the greatest green flags you should never overlook in a relationship is peace. Real love brings a sense of calm to your spirit. It does not constantly leave you emotionally exhausted, anxious, confused, or mentally drained. The right person will not make your life feel like an endless emotional battle. Instead, their presence will create stability, comfort, and emotional safety. In a world filled with chaos and emotional inconsistency, peace is one of the purest forms of love. Many people have become so familiar with toxic relationships that they mistake emotional ability for passion. They think love must always feel intense, dramatic, and unpredictable. But constant emotional chaos is not proof of deep connection. Often it is proof of unresolved pain, insecurity, and unhealthy attachment. If somebody repeatedly disrupts your peace, leaves you emotionally confused, or constantly forces you into survival mode, that relationship may be damaging your spirit more than you realize. Pay attention to how your body and mind respond around someone. Do you feel calm, safe, and valued? Or do you feel anxious, tense, and emotionally restless? Your emotional state around a person reveals a lot about the health of the connection. A peaceful relationship allows you to breathe. You are not constantly worried about abandonment, betrayal, or sudden emotional distance. You do not feel like you must compete for attention or overwork yourself just to receive basic affection. A healthy partner communicates clearly instead of creating confusion. They solve problems with maturity instead of turning every disagreement into emotional warfare. They do not intentionally trigger your insecurities or use silence as punishment. Their love feels steady instead of unpredictable. That emotional steadiness creates an environment where trust can grow naturally. Peace also means emotional security. You feel accepted for who you are instead of feeling pressured to constantly prove your worth. You can speak honestly without fear of being attacked, ignored, or manipulated. You feel emotionally supported rather than emotionally drained. The relationship becomes a place where your mind can rest instead of a place where your anxiety increases every day. Some people will enter your life bringing temporary excitement while slowly destroying your emotional well-being. Others may not appear flashy or dramatic, but their presence brings clarity, balance, and healing. Never underestimate the value of that kind of peace. Excitement may capture attention for a moment, but peace sustains relationships for years. The right relationship should not feel like a constant storm you are struggling to survive. It should feel like shelter. It should strengthen your mental and emotional health instead of weakening it. When someone truly loves you in a healthy way, their presence becomes a source of comfort, stability, and emotional rest. And that kind of peace is priceless. At the end of the day, the relationship you choose will either strengthen your spirit or slowly drain it. That is why you must stop ignoring the green flags that truly matter. Choose someone who brings peace instead of confusion, honesty instead of manipulation, growth instead of limitation, and consistency instead of emotional chaos. Never settle simply because you are lonely. Protect your heart with wisdom, value yourself enough to walk away from what harms you, and trust that the right person will never require you to betray your peace just to keep their love. Real love is not built on temporary emotions, it is built on respect, maturity, trust, and genuine intention. Thank you so much for listening and spending these moments investing in your growth and self-worth. If this message spoke to your heart, hold on to these lessons and carry them into every future relationship. Remember, you deserve a love that heals, supports, and brings peace into your life. Stay strong, stay wise, and never forget your value.